get that feeling that maybe you were right and everyone else was wrong? Or maybe you bet on the winning horse and it turned out that you might be a genius. Because let's be real, I thought Bo Nix was good. And he was good. Now, of course, not Jaden Daniels good, but the criticism the Broncos got for getting him, and I kept using the philosophy of the last donut in the box. And that, they said that Sean Payton had to make up a lie to say, oh, I wanted Bo Nix. Everyone was like, nah, you're full of it. I think Bo Nix kind of proved, one, you can have a full-time career in college and be great instead of doing like some players do, have one really good year and then go straight to the draft. Bo Nix, I remember when he was a freshman at Auburn and he played against Oregon and he ended his long career in Oregon and now he was great in Denver and hopefully it's a start of something great. And now it's time for the second year because like the Commanders, Denver got their quarterback already and now it's time to build off that. Hey everybody, I'm Cortez and I'm a critic, and we are concluding the AFC West 2025 draft recap, and we're going to go to Colorado to talk about the Denver Broncos and their surprise, but I kind of didn't think it was a surprise. I think it was kind of their season, as they got 7 picks, John Elway 7. Let's see who are the new Denver Broncos. Broncos got Bo Nix last year, and flat out everyone was really surprised. I think the big surprise was the Denver defense, and I think it kind of gave more respect to Sean Payton that he kind of knows what he's doing. Even though everyone was kind of wondering, what is he doing? And, maybe it was just because of, maybe it was the whole Bill Belichick, Tom Brady thing, except it was Sean Payton, Drew Brees, that maybe it was Drew Brees that made Sean Payton great. But I think what Sean Payton showed with Bo Nix is that, nah. I definitely get co-ownership of the Saints' success. And probably more so than more people want to give me credit for. Because let's be real, I don't think even Denver fans were as excited about Bo Nix as I was. And I'm not a Denver fan. Heck, I'm not even an AFC West fan. Most of those teams just kind of like, I like their jerseys. That's about it. So, seeing what Denver did with Bo Nix, like the Commanders, now it's time to build off that great rookie season. You guys made the playoffs. Let's see what you guys can do. And you start off on fire. With the 20th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos selected Jahdae Barron, corner, Texas. Now, I was thinking they were going to go tight end, because Sean Payton had great success in his time in New Orleans with good quality tight ends. But they all were taken, and he just said, let me take the best thing. And the idea of Pat Surtain and Barron, the two corners on the Denver defense, which I felt like was an unsung hero of the Denver season success, is probably the second best thing Denver could do besides getting a top elite pass rusher. Like, seriously. They got 2 potential shutdown corners for the next decade of tandem. Something that I think a lot of Falcon fans wanted for AJ Terrell. What seems like no matter whatever team Dion went to, they never got a good number quality 2 for Dion. And even for Darrelle Revis. I think Darrelle's best success probably was with Antonio Cromartie. But that might be the best, 2 cornerback system I can remember that I can say, yeah, that was good. So looking at it like that, Denver gets 2 high caliber corners, and they're both drafted by them. More success for Denver on that, because you're going against the Chiefs, you're going against the Chargers and the Raiders and whoever else you face in the AFC, which, let's be real, everyone else has a good receiving core, especially someone like the Bengals, which signed their 2 top receivers back already. So if you want to compete in the playoffs, more than likely, those quarterbacks with those receiving cores are going to be there. So having two corners that can shut down their top two receivers and then letting your defense scheme by Payton and company is what you want. And Denver, like I said, besides a real good pass rusher or maybe a new big bow toy for Bo Nix, getting a DB as ball hawking like Barron is the perfect thing. And what makes this so great is that it's going to go against the Chiefs. And that's what I love about it. This pick is going to be a major impact against that Chiefs offense that wants to get back to that top 5 offense they want to do in the past. This is a big obstacle for them moving forward. And then 40 picks later in the second round, with the 60th overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos selected R.J. Harvey, running back, UCF. Okay, I have family that goes to University of Central Florida, so seeing a Central Florida player getting drafted this high is kind of like thinking, hey, I think my family member knows that person. Chances are very unlikely, but still kind of cool. It's like the local town kid in high school gets drafted to the NFL. You kind of feel like, hey, I'm associated by somehow. So R.J. Harvey, not only was he picked up from out of Central Florida, which I feel like he was a workhorse, and probably was the more of the reason, I hate to admit it, was probably the only reason why UCF's offense was anything good last year. Let's be real. The quarterback play was kind of like bleh. And what's cool is that R.J. Harvey is viewed as the starting running back for Bo Nix. Harvey is a workhorse. He can catch the ball. He's physical. Definitely very much how I felt about when the Chargers got their new running back. Harvey is meant to take the pressure off Bo Nix. Even though I feel like Bo Nix has a little bit more of a tank build and he has a little bit more athleticism when it comes to running than Justin Herbert, I am still really liking that Harvey's coming in. Plus, a good check down receiver for Bo Nix is something that Sean Payton loves. Sean Payton has a lot of success with running backs. Some great, some just picked up from the scraps, and he has had success with checkdowns and also being more valuable in the receiving attack than just running in between the tackles as a downhill runner. So Sean Payton getting a versatile running back is the perfect thing for him. Now, granted, I'm not going to give the Alvin Kamara vibe that Sean Payton had when he was in New Orleans, or even what he had with Reggie Bush, but Harvey is a running back that can catch, and that's something that I feel like is very intangible for the Denver Broncos to have. So we go to the third round with the 74th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Denver Broncos select Pat Bryant, wide receiver, Illinois. So, a lot of people were wondering if Denver was going to make a couple of trade requests for Chris Olave, for George Pickens, or any other wide receiver that could potentially be on the cusp of being like, he's too expensive, the value is too great to ignore, what have you. And by the time of this recording, maybe Denver can still do that because Courtland Sutton is still their number one receiver, and rightfully so. They did get Evan Ingram, so we'll see how well that develops into it. But Troy Franklin, the wide receiver out of Oregon that they actually teamed up, which I was speculating that was going to lead to Bo Nix getting more acclimated into the offense. The funny enough, that partnership didn't work as well as I wanted to, so I kind of feel like that's probably why they went with another receiver, because I really think it's good to have a number one receiver, and most teams have really just one good receiver, and they try to thrive. Dallas has made it with CeeDee Lamb. The Detroit had it when they had Calvin Johnson, and some might even say Amari St. Brown, probably the number one receiver for them. Everyone else is kind of like flexing number two. But there are teams like the Bengals, there are teams like the Buccaneers, there are teams that just get lucky and they actually draft two number one receivers who happen to be number 1 and 2. And they make it work. Those people we call lucky sons of bees. But Denver, I always felt like they needed a strong number 2 because Courtland can't do alone. Plus, it talks to longevity if Courtland Sutton can play a lot longer because he's not the go-to guy. Especially when he takes all the attention, that even if he's not getting the ball, he's taking all the attention. And seeing them, they go here and they get, Pat Bryant, who they currently have him as a number 2 receiver behind Marvin Mims Jr., is like, okay, another young receiver. I'm still putting him in the category that he will be the top 5 receivers in there, and hopefully gets involved to honestly give Cortland Sutton, the one-on-one matchups, the schemes, and also longevity. If Cortland goes down for the Broncos, that's going to hurt them so much more than any other position on the offensive side of the ball going down. I think if Bo Nix goes down with a turf toe for a game, they will be fine. If Cortland Sutton goes down for a game, that might just cost them the game, because their offensive firepower is not as dynamic without a good number 1 receiver, and they don't have a good number 2 right now. I feel like Denver has a good, solid number 1 and a bunch of number 3s at best. So it's receiver by committee after number 1. Pat Bryant comes in, and honestly, it's open season on the number 2 and 3 receiver spot. Even though you project as a second pick, as a depth number 2, that doesn't mean you can be part of the top 5. And I think the sooner he gets involved, and hopefully we're hoping that Franklin develops in the second year to become more involved for Bo Nix and company. Then we go in the 3rd round with the 101 Dalmatians. No, with the 101st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Denver Broncos select Savion Jones, edge, LSU. Okay, here we go. We're going to get the defense. Now, Denver runs a 3-4 defense, even though sometimes it feels like they're running more of a 4-4 defense or 4-6. They just have interchangeable linebackers coming into the line that can drop into coverage. They have ball hawking skills, and they have one that can rush passers as if they're designed to rush passers since the day they can walk. The Denver Broncos scheme was built on misdirection, disguises, and making you believe it's going to be this, and then they counter with something else. I feel like Denver was built on ambushes to make you think they're going to go cover 2, and they said, no, we're bringing a blitz. We're going to bring in a blitz. Now we're going to go to a cover 3. We're going to interchange you and make you guess, because the biggest thing is for them is we want the quarterback to make a decision quickly, and hopefully it's the worst decision. And to me, Denver is that type of defense, and them getting a pass rusher out of LSU and Jones, I feel like that's what they want to do. They want a shark. They want a guy to come in around the end and sack quarterbacks. Now, Jones is currently being viewed as a defensive end more than an edge. I mean, he's 6'6", 280. He's a big guy, but 6'6". So put him as a defensive end in the 3-4 is meant for run containment and potentially a chance to contain the pocket while the linebackers make schemes. And also athleticism to switch and do flips and crosses for the exterior side. The biggest thing is Denver, very much like everyone else in the AFC West, their defensive scheme is probably meant to defeat your own division foes, especially the Kansas City Chiefs, which I honestly feel like the Denver probably has the best chance, honestly, out of the other 2 teams to sweep the Chiefs. And a lot of it is because of the Denver defense. Bo Nix and company, we'll see what the offense developed in the second year under the Sean Payne scheme. But Denver's defense, I feel like, is more prepared to counter the Kansas City Chiefs offense. And a lot of it has to do with because, well, everyone knows how to do it. You just got to execute it. And I think Denver has the opportunity to do it, especially with the 2 shutdown corners now they got. Definitely look forward to that Denver defense shutting down the Chiefs. And funny enough, they went LSU. So they went SEC Power LSU. And then in the 4th round, with the 134th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos selected an SEC teammate, Quinn Robinson, edge, Alabama. So they take the 2 strongest SEC programs and take 2 defensive players, basically been almost LSU's and Alabama's identity for probably decades to come, and they take 2 intangible players to join forces. It's like a Michigan-Ohio State joining forces on the team. Sometimes we just feel that, okay, all right, we get 2 enemies to become allies. Now, I'm speculating because I'm using the Alabama LSU program to kind of dictate a narrative, but quite frankly, I'm a storyteller and I like the story. We have Robinson, who is currently being viewed as, where they have him? I thought I had him. They have him over on the strong side linebacker behind Joan Ellis and Jonathan Cooper. So he is meant for development and intangibles. But like I said, the Denver Broncos loves building on ambushes and different schemes, so do not be surprised if Robinson comes in and probably gets 3 or 4 sacks his rookie season. Do not be surprised. He's going to get a lot of playing time in preseason, and we'll see how quickly he gets involved. But to me, Robinson is currently he's 6'5", 241. He's a guy that I feel like he will be utilized on 3rd and long situation if he develops well and understands the game and doesn't get pushed out of blocks or doesn't get double teamed or get manhandled by a tight end or a running back. His physical attributes makes him an ideal around the bend pass rusher for Sean Payton, and I feel like that's probably why they want to utilize him there, which is weird because the other teammate Jones is 6'6", 280, while Robinson is 6'5", 240. So both very similar, both have very similar height, but both have almost 40 pounds different in weight. So probably one is more for a physical, run stopper and containment. The other one's more for speed around the bend, sack quarter with long, langly arms. That's probably why. And who knows? You never know. Maybe Jones and Robinson will have some type of, off the field type of how many sacks and again this game versus you. A little rivalry among rookies. Always fun. Always motivates. But no bounty gate, Sean. We went through this before. No bounty gate. Then we go to the 6th round after doubling up on offensive weapons and doubling up on defensive fire. With the 216th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos selected Jeremy Crawshaw, punter, Florida. I haven't done this in a while. So, for those who don't know, if you are a long snapper, if you are a punter, and if you're a kicker, and you are drafted out of the team's projected 7 picks, they normally you do get, bonding, minding a trade, and of course violations. If you're drafted, you are probably 99.9% going to be the starter because most teams don't have a number 2 for those positions. So if you are a punter, if you are a long snapper, and you are a kicker, you are a starter. Because I don't think a team is willing to sacrifice one of their 7-2-5-2 picks on a position that every team only has one of. Yes, they might bring another kicker or punter into training camp for competition's sake, but I really have a hard time believing they will do that, and the person they bring in, unless bond an injury, or worst case of the Yelps, beats out the player they sacrifice a pick for. So unless Jeremy messes up really, really badly, Roberto Aguayo over here as a Buccaneer fan, we know we f***ed up. It's going to be his job. He's a punter, he's a day 1 starter, God forbid an injury, or God forbid he messes up really, really bad. But he's a starter, and there's nothing more to say than that. He's a starter, so there's no competition. He's there for a punter, fill a spot, moving on. Then, the last pick. This in the 7th round. With the 241st pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Caleb Lohner. Is it Lohner? Silent H. Tight end, Utah. Jared, I did say that Sean Payton likes his tight ends. Out of context, that sounds very dirty. But let's be professional here. Sean Payton does have a knack to getting good quality tight end. I mean, he's the one that gave Jimmy Graham his opportunity, and he became one of the most dynamic tight ends for 5-6 years, and even then some. Even when he went to the Packers and Seahawks, he was still dynamic. And when he came back to the Saints, he was still dynamic. He just has that that nth degree for the Saints. So them getting Caleb, like I said, they got Evan Ingram. I'm so iffy with Ingram ever since he got drafted out of Mississippi to the Giants, I think it was. Yeah, it was the Giants, right? Was it the Giants? Was it the Giants that drafted him? Anyway, I always felt like he's either inconsistency with his hands or inconsistency with his health. And one of those two things he can't control, the other one he tries to control. So seeing it like that, I feel like this is more of a number 2 because behind them they got Adam Tantarum and Lucas Kroll. And then of course they got Nate Atkins. But that doesn't mean they're not going to run a 2 tight end system formation. And I really, really, really can't help but feel like Sean Payton would not just pick another tight end here or not. For all I know, Caleb could be viewed as what I like to call thick receivers. Receivers that are like 230, And matter of fact, let me do a quick little check on our dude. He is 6'7", 250 pounds. So he's just there at the cusp. But when you're 6'7", and you weigh 250, it does not look like you weigh 250 when you're 6'7". I'm not even 6 foot, and I know that feeling. So definitely know what it's like when you're 250 and you're 6'7". So I'm gonna label him as a thick receiver because he's 6'7". He's freaking tall, and for all we know it, that's probably what he's been utilized as a zone receiver, and definitely probably was a goal line. I mean, compared to the other tight ends, he's the tallest tight end they have there. And honestly, he's the tallest receiver they have. 6'4", 6'3". Lucas Kroll is 6'6", but everyone else is 6'6". No one is 6'6". Everyone else is under that. So he's the tallest guy, which makes me feel like he's a jump ball 50-50 type guy, and Sean Payton will utilize him. Let's be real. This is the guy that gave Taysom Hill his career. He developed a player that's not designed for something into something great. So to me, this guy may not have a projected depth chart position right now, but do not be surprised if he is making 50-50 balls on crucial situations, especially inside the red zone and goal line. Do not be surprised. This guy feels more of a receiving threat than a blocker. Doesn't mean he can't block, but let's be real. 6'7", 250, definitely throw the ball up, let me catch. So, that is the Denver Broncos picks. The grade I give them, I can give them contenders right now. If they do something like if they get to the conference championship, I will probably be happy to give them the contender title. But I can't right now because something called the sophomore slump still haunts my dreams. But Denver did get better. They got quality players, and I really think we need to trust Sean. Sean Payton's one of those coaches like Andy Reid that you would just be like, I trust them. That they'll take players, you'd be like, what are you going to do with that? And they do something great to the point everyone copies them. So I'm going to say trust what Sean Payton's going to do, because we all remember he defended the Bo Nix pick, even though everyone, including me, was thinking, well, yeah, what are you going to... You can't just say, I didn't want Bo Nix, but he was the last one there, so I had to take him. You couldn't say that. I thought Bo Nix was, don't know why, underappreciated. I don't know why. And what Bo Nix did, I felt like, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to see of Bo Nix. And he did. And now with RJ and the two different edge rushers on there, like I said, this Caleb guy, the tight end from Utah, 50-50 ball guy, big targets, always a quarterback best friend, especially young quarterbacks and tight ends. They're better. And I really believe that Denver is going to be... Denver and the Chargers, I feel like they are a game to potentially take down the Chiefs. Maybe not take away the division from the Chiefs, but definitely make it a lot harder for the Chiefs. I don't see the Chiefs winning the division before Christmas. Like, there could literally be like the last week of the season could determine the division winner and playoff seedings in the AFC West. Remember, Denver, Chargers, and the Chiefs all made the playoffs last year. And I definitely know one of those teams no one thought was going to make it, and they did. Even though toward the end of the year they kind of fell apart. So, I trust the Denver, and the player I am most excited about is RJ Harvey. One, he's a local guy, so I got to root for the local guy. But two, seeing a player being picked up and already being projected as a starter, it just... Small school, and UCF, let's be real, is a smaller school compared to others. Let's be real. Come on. It's UCF, University of Central Florida. Let's be real. It's a smaller school compared to others. And to see players to make impacts to the point that they're basically viewed as a starter and are going to be the starter right away, it's kind of like, you thought you playing in the Big 12 was tough. You're playing in the AFC side and the AFC West side. So good luck to you. And he's going to take it. I really be surprised. I won't be surprised if Arden has 1,000 yards rushing this year. I won't be surprised. But I'm telling you, he's gonna get probably 30 plus catches this year. 30 plus catches, probably nearly 400 yards receiving. Like, don't be surprised because Sean Payton loves checkdowns and throwing to his running backs. So don't be surprised. But RJ is my favorite play to look at. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Denver Broncos. We have concluded the AFC West. And the NFC West is also done. So we have 4 divisions left. 1 to the north and 1 to the south. And since we're on the AFC side, you know we must go to the north. So we are going to start our next round of divisions in the AFC North, and the first team we'll be talking about will be... hopefully they make a decision before I make the recording. We will start with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and hopefully by the time I record them, the Aaron Rodgers saga would have come to an end. If not, boy, it's going to be awkward when I'm editing and the Aaron Rodgers decision makes place after I record. But we start the AFC North with the Pittsburgh Steelers, a team that is kind of like the Chargers. They're just there. They're just there. So, until then, I'm Cortez, and I'm a critic. Thank you so very much for watching.